Hiya! So, Gordon again, and here I'm talking about basically that it's time to wake up to what's happening to us. It's time to wake up to what's being done to us, and it's time for us to wake up to the fact that we need to start taking responsibility for our own health. Why? Because nobody else is interested. Nobody else is interested in making us healthy. Now that seems like a really, really awful statement to make. And I'm not saying that people who work in the health service aren't interested in healing people. I know that there are many, many millions upon millions of people who really do want to help. What I'm talking about is the structure. Now, let's divide the health service into two, and then I want to discard one because I'm not here talking about the absolutely wonderful, life-saving things that we can do today. The way that surgeons can do heart surgery on babies inside of the womb. They can enter into a vein on your leg or an artery on your leg and perform surgery in your brain. It's just awesome. You know, the skill that we have now is incredible. And I'm so happy because one day it might save my life. So, that's great. Can we put that to one side now? What I'm talking about is the pharmaceutical side of the health service. Now, I don't know how much you know about Big Pharma, okay? But it's time. If you don't know anything about when I say Big Pharma, the big pharmaceutical companies, if you know nothing about them, or if you've got a very neutral opinion of them, now it's time to start to educate yourself, because it's time to wake up. And I'll tell you why. Because the pharmaceutical companies do not want people to get better. They don't want anybody to get better. Now that's, I'm sure you're saying, what? What do you mean? That's absolutely mad. I'm going to quote you something that was said by one of the marketing people of a pharmaceutical company. They said, there are only two sins, the worst sins that you could commit in the pharmaceutical world. One is that you kill them, and the other one is that you cure them. Okay? Why? Well, if you kill them, you've lost a patient, you've lost somebody who takes your tablets for life, and if you cure them, you've lost them too. The pharmaceutical companies have no interest in curing anything. They never, ever, ever profess to cure. Never. Even if you think about the adverts, any advert that you see, what does it say? It says, helps reduce the symptoms of this problem. Helps reduce the symptoms. Right. That's all that they do. That's all that they're interested in doing. But let me explain how wrong that is. And they know fine well that it's wrong. They know fine well. Why is it wrong to reduce the symptoms of anything? Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're driving a car. Okay, you're driving along in your car and you hear boom, 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 boom. You think, ooh, what's that? A loud noise. Okay? I better go to the garage. So you drive your car into the garage, okay? And let's imagine that the garage is a pharmaceutical company. You drive the car into the garage and you say to the man, I've got this terrible noise that's coming out of my engine. And you say, well, can we have a drive around the block? You drive around and he hears this boom, 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 boom. And the man says, okay, I'll tell you what you have to do. I'm going to install this extra big speaker in your car, and I want you to put your radio up full, and you won't hear the noise anymore. So you get into your car and you turn the radio up full and you drive along and you enjoy the music and you don't hear the noise anymore. The symptom is gone. Okay? But what does that mean? What are the consequences? After a while, the car will break, and then you'll need major surgery. Why? Because a symptom, the job of a symptom is it's an alarm. The symptom says, problem, something wrong. Okay? So if you dismiss the symptom, if you suppress a symptom, that doesn't take the problem away, it just suppresses the symptom. And the symptom is actually doing you a favour. It's saying, there is a problem. Something is not right. Fix it. And instead of fixing it, what the pharmaceutical companies have spent the last decades doing is finding ways of suppressing the symptom. And so what's happening is that we're taking tablet after tablet to suppress symptoms, and we're never ever curing. And that's great for them. Pharmaceutical companies, I had a conversation with my father-in-law about this, and he said, wait a minute, look, everybody wants to make money, but the pharmaceutical companies have our best interests at heart. And I just wish that he would read all of the literature that's out there. There's a book called Bad Pharma. Okay, it's a bestseller. You can find it in all the bookstores. Bad Pharma. Read it. It's a bit heavy going, but boy, and that isn't even one of the out there books. This is just a bog standard guy, a doctor, who's writing about the absolute misappropriation of information, manipulation of information, and downright lying that the pharmaceutical companies do. They lie about the results of every drug that comes out. They manipulate the results. Think about this. Let me ask you a question. For a drug to go out onto the market, a very strong, powerful drug, let's say a diabetic drug, drugs for diabetics, okay? For it to come out onto the market, how long do you think that the drug should be tested for before it's deemed safe? How long? Now, when I ask people, most people say, well, at least 2 to 3 years, which is probably reasonable. And the fact is that it takes around about 7 years for the full impact of any drug to be found, to be known. 7 years, okay? And that's why when the drug is tested, it's normally tested 1, 2 or 3 months, and that's it. It's only tested for 3 months. Now, question for you. Who tests it? Who tests the drugs that the pharmaceutical companies produce? Well, it should be an independent body, yes? Somebody who is completely independent from the drug companies. No. Guess who tests the drugs? The company itself who produces a drug also has the job of testing it. So they make it and then they test it. And then they give the test results to a supposed independent body who then says, yeah, okay, that sounds fine. Now, do you think there might be a bit of a conflict of interest in the fact that the drug companies are policing themselves? The book Bad Pharma tells of all of this information, these tests that they do, how they're manipulated, how some of the information that doesn't fit in with what they want is thrown away, and how sometimes the big tests are disregarded and a tiny test that gives some kind of indication that there might be something positive is focused on. So the drug comes out saying this drug is wonderful for X, when in fact it isn't. Do you know that lots and lots of times people have had terrible, terrible reactions to drugs during the testing stage, and they have been removed from the group with the reason, well, they're not, obviously they're not suitable. Okay? Many times people have died, and many people have died, and the drug still stays on the market. Do you know that prescribed drugs are one of the biggest killers in the Western world? Do you know that even in America itself, more than 150,000 people die a year from prescription drugs. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. It's unknown how many people are damaged from the use of drugs. You see, the drugs that we are given, we assume, it's like the food, we assume that they've been tested. They haven't. We assume that we're given them so that it will help our problem. Often it doesn't even do that. How many times have you seen, I know old people who have a box like this of different drugs that they're taking. And you know how that starts? Because every drug that's out has what's called contraindications, side effects. And you know how this starts? Imagine you get somebody who goes to the doctor and they say, oh doctor, I've got a lot of heartburn. Ooh, I don't know what's the problem. It's a symptom, okay? Heartburn is saying there's something wrong. There's something wrong in the body. There's something wrong with the diet. There's something wrong. So the doctor says, well, take this pill. These are really good for heartburn. So you start taking the pill. The person starts taking the pill. A couple of weeks later, they go back to the doctor and they say, well, you know, my heartburn's a bit better, but we get some terrible headaches, really bad headaches now. The doctor says, yeah, because it's sometimes with the heartburn thing, sometimes you can get headaches. Look, we'll take this tablet and that'll get rid of your headaches. Okay? The doctor doesn't say, I'll take those tablets off you again. What he says is, take this tablet to get rid of that side effect. So the person starts taking the second tablet as well as the first one. And then a few weeks later or months later, they go back to the doctor and say, hey, doctor, you know, I've been taking these. Well, my headaches are better. I still have them every now and again. But you know, I'm really constipated. I don't know why, I'm just constipated. The doctor said, quite often those tablets for the headaches have a side effect of constipation. But start taking this tablet. And so on and so forth. And the person keeps taking tablets to reduce the side effect of the tablet that took to take the side effect away of the tablet that it took to take this. You see how it happens? And quite often what happens is people end up on a whole rack of drugs every day. Most of them for the side effects. Now, what often happens is at the end, people are taking so many drugs, they're feeling so bad, they go to the doctor and they say, my God, doctor, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel listless, I feel depressed. And the doctor says, no problem. Take this tablet. That will take that away. And so not only do they have all of this shit that they're taking, that doesn't really do anything, they also are taking psychotropic drugs or antidepressants. And they are probably one of the most addictive substances that we can take. People who start taking antidepressants often are on them for the rest of their lives, not because they need them. Well, I suppose they do need them because they become addicted to them. And whenever they try to come off the drug, what happens is they start having a bad reaction. The body goes into withdrawal and they feel bad. And so they think, so the tablet is doing something because when I stop taking it, I feel bad, so this is my natural state. No, it's not. It's withdrawal. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just in a state of withdrawal. And this is what happens. And this is why I'm saying to you that going to your doctor and getting pills will never fix your problem. It will only suppress the symptom. Doctors don't cure anymore. They're not interested in curing. There is no cure. And we're going to come onto that now. I'm going to talk about cancer. But that's in the next one. So, I'll leave you there and let's move on and I'll tell you a little bit about cancer. My opinion. Check it out.